All right. So I guess first thing, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company?
Yeah, hey, I'm Alexa. I am Director of Operations and Distribution for Redwood Remedies. We are greenhouse and sun-grown growers that have a self-distribution model. So we're seed to retail.
Nice. That's great. And then, can you talk a little bit about your experience, like how long you've been at the company and kind of what your day-to-day looks like there?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I came from the legacy cannabis industry and was working initially in the medical field, medical cannabis industry, and transitioned to Redwood Remedies in 2017 to help launch the recreational program. In the recreational market, as long as it's been available to us.
Nice.
And I think we began using Canix as a way to connect some of the dots that are messy about Metric.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the
Some
messy dots with Metric and some of the issues you guys had?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we have was a huge hurdle for us initially is our flagship property is remotely located. And we were having a ton of issues where we weren't able to do the things that we were needing to report on site because of the low connection to internet and cell phone reception. And that was when I initially connected with Canix because some of the features that you guys offer as far as pushing when the internet is back were really desirable for us. We no longer have those kind of hurdles, but some of the parts that we really appreciate about Canix that Metric sort of falls short on is the cut taking is a pretty long and arduous process that we do a lot of here in-house, and Canix has really simplified that process, as well as the invoice to manifest connection has been pretty seamless and is giving not only my invoices a lot more information than they used to have as far as related packages and things like that, but also pushing those manifests into Metric. So I'm having to deal with Metric at a very limited capacity, which is always better.
Yeah, that's a pretty common theme among our clients is like Metric has some okay things about it, but when you're using day to day, it's not very friendly and it has a lot of problems. And so it's really kind of why we've been able to build what we have, and some of the successes because of that. Can you tell me a little bit about your decision of like selecting Canix, kind of what that process was like?
Okay, well, like I said, we were looking for someone who was going to be able to offer us some remote functions that would be able to push to Metric once we did come back online, so we could do work in the field and then bring our devices into reception and have them push. So I discovered Canix when it was called something else.
Mm-hmm.
And we did an initial discovery period with them in 2019. I hopped on a call. We talked about challenges that we were facing with Metric coming online and how that reporting was going to go, and what you guys were doing that was a little bit different and a little bit more innovative and a lot more user friendly. So that was our initial discovery with Canix, and part of the reason that we chose it was it's an affordable option. It's very user friendly. In the beginning, we used very few of the functions and we're learning how Metric worked and using them side by side a lot. And the fact that Canix is seamlessly pulling that information from Metric allows the different people on my team who prefer to work mostly in Metric or a combination, it allows that to function fairly easily. And the relationship between our cultivation and distribution, because it is so intrinsic There is no difference. There's no different team. There is no different, our distribution only handles our product. It's not a white label brand, or we're not running distribution for other companies. And so that ability for me to pull product in from cultivation into my distribution and have one software that works for all of them has been really valuable for us.
Awesome. That's great. And then can you talk a little bit about working with like the Canix team and support, if you've gone through there or anything like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as with anything, sometimes things aren't just working. And a lot of times what we found is that metric isn't working. And so that creates little issues within my interface. And what I've discovered is that Canix has been really open to helping us. The process in which that has happened has changed a little bit over the past, I wouldn't say maybe 6 months or so. So I haven't requested that much help in that period of time. But when we first onboarded with Canix, somebody came out to the farm and trained my team on how to use their cell phones to work in the gardens, and how for me to use the distribution software on my computer to make that happen, and how, some ideas on how to function inventory and those sort of things, so that it was seamless with Canix's programming. And I found you guys to be really helpful. Also, things have lots of updates have happened since we've joined the platform. And what I've noticed is a lot of them are ones I've requested, such as more flexible net term selection. I really feel like your team has taken into consideration the feedback that I've given them and made the profile and, the software really work for me.
Yeah, that's really our goal is, we build it for you guys to use, and you have the best concept of ideas and features that are needed. And so that's really what we continue to try to do. Can you speak on any like time savings that Canix has provided, or cost savings or anything like that to try to quantify?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I did mention earlier the major pain point for us as far as the time consuming portion of creating cuttings in Metric. That has been an incredible time saver. Not only am I able to do it from my device in the field right in the moment, but also the functionality that you guys have saves me an entire step. And that has been a really effective time saving device for us. And just the fact that I don't have to walk from the field into the office and sit down at the computer and log into Metric to do some of the work has been a major time saving for us. Also, the functionality of not making a manifest in one system and then pushing to Metric in another system for invoicing and manifests with Canix are a seamless integration, and that has making the invoice and then pressing create the packages has really saved me a ton of time and a ton of looking back and forth from one invoice into Metric to make sure that I'm pulling the right quantities and the right SKUs.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's all the questions that I have. I really appreciate your time doing this. Like, that's
Awesome.
very helpful for us, and I'm glad that things are working out. And I want to make sure that we keep, logging your requests and getting those into the roadmap as time goes on.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like you guys have been pretty incredible with that kind of stuff. I said I now have a client that needs net whatever terms, and you guys have been able to push that update so that it is available to me. And making the package items on my manifest now has been really helpful. A ton of the new updates that you guys have done just this last round have been really elevating the experience that I am able to provide to my consumers.
That's great. Awesome.